Welcome in, guys. Episode number 19. I am your host, Reagan Loescher, and here with me today is Colin Tong.
It's a good day and a bad day. Bad day, the Giants season's over. I'm very upset.
Also,
good day, Niners covered against the Cowboys, and Reagan just posted his first TikTok video, and it is phenomenal. Reagan, can you sing the lyrics for me?
I forget the lyrics because I was too.
You know it. You just did it.
I was letting the music take my hips. I was really getting a lot of hip and some pep in my step. So, yeah, I got lost in the music.
Come on, just one bar.
Ooh, she a rebel.
She a devil.
Oh, she a devil. You see?
Yeah, man. You gotta
I was more worried about the choreography of it than the actual song. So, hopefully I did well enough. We'll see. I got 4 more days to improve.
Four more days to improve those dancing moves, but thank God for those Niners.
Yeah, finally, you got me back. We're tied 2-2
2-2 now in the punishments, and I don't know whose punishments were worse, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how this...
next year.
I got 4 more days of this, so the other ones were like a one-time thing, but this is going to be 4 more days, so we'll see how I'm feeling after day 5.
At least this will be the first punishment where none of us yak.
You never know. I mean, if I find the dance where they're yakking, I'm going to have to do it. But, yeah. And you also said it's a bad week, and it really was. A lot of big injuries this week. I mean, this is...
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough
right
for
into
the NFL.
Into the NFL news.
Before we talk injuries, though, let's finally, bury the hatchet with Jonathan Taylor, our favorite news segment guy. He signed a deal. No one saw this one coming. 3 years, $42 million to stay in Indy. I believe it was initially reported he got 26 guaranteed. I actually think the numbers came in to be lower, like around 21, which is less than 2 franchise tags, interestingly enough. And I mean, what do you think about this? Did you expect this or no?
No, I didn't, but I'm happy that I drafted him. Although Zach Moss looked pretty good this week, but
yeah,
still.
Everyone's like, oh, Jonathan Taylor's back, 180 yards, 2 touchdowns. Oh wait, no, that was Zach Moss.
Yeah, So we'll see. But I mean, the fact that Zach Moss was able to do that makes me confident in this offensive line. They looked good, and Tennessee's been a stout run defense.
Yeah, dude. I mean, to go off against that level of run defense is very nice. And they continue to run the ball even when Anthony Richardson went out with a grade 3 AC joint sprain in his right shoulder. Anticipated to miss a month or more, but they were still able to run the ball with Minshew, but damn.
This offense isn't going to be nearly as dynamic now.
Right when we had the opportunity to see that Richardson and Taylor backfield, the run and the read option, it's gone. We have to wait another month at least. Tough blow
sucks
for the Colts.
Richardson's looked good so far. He's been fun to watch. I was a guy who was not really giving him a lot of praise, thinking he was going to struggle a bit, and unfortunately, we don't really get a full feel for how this guy, what he could have been.
I know, he comes in, he makes phenomenal plays, highlight plays, great with his legs. He's not turning the ball over. He does have to protect himself better.
I mean, clearly, he's been concussed. He's got a shoulder injury. I don't know, was it week 1 also when he left? Was that shoulder, or was that something else?
I believe that was shoulder, yeah. The concussion was a kind of a freak play, though, because he was going for the pylon, and the guy pushed him, and he had whiplash, so...
But still, I mean,
he's got to... sliding there, you're going
he's got to try to protect himself. I mean, the fact that he's been knocked out of 3 games already. 3 different occasions he's had to come out.
It's tough. And he's 6'5", 260 pounds, and
he should be doing the punishing. He shouldn't be getting
absolutely.
punished.
You're not in college anymore. You're not going to be able to run around these guys as easily.
Yeah.
So
some other season-ending injuries. Matt Milano out for the season with a broken leg and knee.
Well, they did say today that we're not ruling him out for the year, but come on, he broke his leg.
I guess they're saying probably because they have playoff expectations.
There's no way he's coming back in 4 or 5 months, though. I mean, he's
you would
most
think
likely
now.
out for the season, and this is a huge blow for the Bills. He was an all-pro linebacker last year, does everything, rushes the quarterback, great in coverage.
And then 2 other big season injuries. The Lions cornerback, Manuel Mosley.
This is a tough one, man.
He tore his ACL the first game back, too, and he tore his left ACL last year.
Yeah, last year in Week 5, tore the left. This year, first game back in Week 5, tears the right. Just awful news for
and then the other season-ending injury was AVT, Elijah Vera Tucker. He actually tore his ACL, so he's now out for the year. Or Achilles, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Achilles.
He tore his Achilles, and the worst part about that is that he's by far the best Jets lineman we have right now. But on top of that, he tore his pec on that field against the Broncos last year. So this freaking guy, 2 straight seasons of having his season end at the Mile High.
It's brutal. I mean, he's a phenomenal player.
Yeah, it sucks. We were bouncing around everywhere.
He could play.
Our line's going to take a big hit now.
Yeah, that's a tough loss for the Jets because their offensive line already has several holes up front. Now, we talked about your Jets. Let's talk about my Giants. Daniel Jones' neck injury. After getting hit from behind after Azudu probably let up his 4th sack of the fucking game. A little bit of whiplash. I mean, optimistic he'll play this week, but it's still...
I freaking hope he does. I don't want to watch Tyrod Taylor on Sunday Night Football.
No, absolutely not. But it is concerning because he did miss the final 5 or 6 games of the season in 2021 with a neck.
Yeah.
Which they didn't anticipate was going to be a season ender, and it was. So when you keep hearing neck injuries coming up, it's definitely concerning, but they are optimistic that he'll play this week, which is...
Although Tyrod revenge game, potentially. Uh-oh.
I don't care who's behind center.
T-Mobile on primetime against the Bills. Go. It's in Buffalo, too, right?
It's in Buffalo, yes.
Oh, T-Mobile revenge game. Uh-oh. I got a little bit of confidence in the Giants now.
That's crazy. I don't have confidence in this team at all. They can't block. They can't get open.
Take maybe Tyrod a nice little ATF lock parlay leg, you know?
That's crazy.
Maybe over 150 passing yards. I'm sure that line will be low.
Now that Bills defense, they lost the guy in the front. They lost Milano. They lost Tre'Davious White. Plus, if
Saquon's back, this offense will at least be a little bit better, you'd have to think.
Can't be much worse, brother. Can't be much worse. In other running back news, Khalil Herbert out for multiple weeks with an ankle. Now, Roschon Johnson got a concussion last week. Is this finally going to be...
Go pick up Foreman. Pick up Foreman.
Is it Foreman time?
I don't know if it's Foreman time, but I mean...
He's been a healthy scratch.
Yeah, so I just thought there's not a lot of other options because Homer also got banged up too, Travis Homer.
He did, yeah. Roschon can clear concussion protocol. You never really know concussions, how bad they are.
Yeah.
But
I'm just going to assume he's going to miss because it's easier to say they're going to miss than play because usually they typically miss at least a game. But I'd definitely be going to pick up Foreman in the waiver wires when they run in 2 days.
Yeah, absolutely. Kelsey sprained his ankle on the turf, non-contact.
Did come back, though.
But he came back, scored the game-winning touchdown. I don't know if he'll play Thursday because it's going to be sore, and they are playing the Broncos, who look absolutely terrible. So maybe they don't push Kelsey and they give him another week to recover because you don't want that ankle to linger throughout the whole season. They have bigger fish to fry than the Denver Broncos, and I think they can win without him. But, Kelsey's a gamer. He probably was pushing Reed to put him back in. He did put him in. So it'd be interesting to see, but I hope he plays. I have him in fantasy 2 leagues.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a terrible week for injuries.
Terrible week. Also, did you see on Twitter, all the Swifties are like, we need to ban turf fields if Taylor's man's getting hurt.
They're catching on quick.
Yeah, like, fuck turf fields. I'm like, all right, I can fuck with that, Swifties. We've had our beef, but I can fuck with that.
But before we get into the questions, one big positive thing we've seen, Stroud is now at 186 pass attempts without an interception. I mean, that's crazy.
It is now the NFL record for most attempts for a rookie without throwing their first
He's going to be close. He's going to be getting close to the NFL record in general. I'm not sure what it is, but he's got to be getting close.
I think it's around 300.
Yeah, I mean, he's been really smart with the ball. I mean, there were a couple that it's like, that could have been picked off, but I mean,
someone that thought he was going to come in and throw a lot of picks right away. He made me eat my words. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, no, he's
very impressed with Stroud. Very impressed with Stroud. All right, that wraps up the news. Joe, what do we got for questions?
All right, we got a good group of questions here, so we'll start it off. Austin and Jared, they must have been hanging out or something because they asked the same question.
That's cute, guys.
So, two great minds think alike, I guess. Out of all of the teams under 500, which team has the best chance to make the playoffs?
The Cincinnati Bengals. Now, they looked absolutely awful. Granted, it was the Cardinals. I get it. It was the Cardinals. Not a daunting defense by any stretch of the means. But Jamar Chase, 15 receptions, nearly 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. Him and Burrow on the same page. And they did that without T. Higgins as well. I think this offense has to run through Jamar Chase. They have the talent of all the teams under 500. They're the most talented one. They are in a tough division, though. I mean, Baltimore's 3-2, Pittsburgh's 3-2, Cleveland's no slouch with that defense. Tough division. But I still think the Bengals, with that talent, with the experience they have, going deep in the postseason, that they're the team to do it.
I'd say the Titans for me, just because you already took the Bengals. I'm not going to say the same thing. So they're 2-3. I mean, that division's still wide open. Yeah, Jacksonville just is now 3-2. The Colts are 3-2, and you don't love seeing the Titans drop to 2-3, but on top and losing a division game. But they do play Baltimore, so that's a game where if they go and win, that's a team that could be, because we don't know if Baltimore's going to win the division. That North is still wide open also, so it's a huge game. If they can go out and get a win, that's one of those games that could be a head-to-head come down at the end of the season for one of those wild card spots. So I really like Tennessee's chances to still win that division and compete for a wild card team, even though they kind of got exposed their run defense this week.
I do like that.
Or no, also, kind of about it. They did get exposed.
Also, I will say, if you want to go NFC because it's softer, the Rams' offense has looked really good early, which we didn't really anticipate. But now with Kupp and Nakua, they both can coexist. They both played really well this weekend.
And this defense is a lot better than expected.
Yeah, I mean, for a lot of guys that were inexperienced, they're playing good football and they're playing good teams tough. So in a weak NFC, I wouldn't be shocked in this. I mean, I'm saying this, I have Rams under 6.5, but I wouldn't be shocked if they can get up to 9 wins and potentially get a playoff spot.
Yeah.
And on the other end, which team over 500 do you guys think is going to miss the playoffs?
I mean, I could just say an easy one, the Colts. Like, I don't
I don't think the Colts are making the playoffs.
I don't think it's going to hold up just because, like, they are 3-2, but I don't see how it holds up, especially because Minshew's not nearly as dynamic, so this offense that's looked pretty good is losing a huge aspect to it. Like, all those, like, RPOs and read options, they go out the window right away, so that limits half your playbook already with having to play Minshew.
I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. I could just because I can't say Colts, Great minds think alike, brother.
Yeah. Too also.
Falcons, yeah, that's a good one.
Two divisions that are, like you just mentioned, the Colts. Now go to the NFC South. That division is so wide open.
The
too.
Falcons
Saints and Falcons.
Yeah. The only reason I didn't say them is just because like the NFC is so much more wide open compared to the AFC. Yeah. So like,
there's a greater chance of them getting a wild card.
Still get a wild card
against Buffalo though. That definitely hurts them a little bit because I don't know. There are some better teams, I think, than the Falcons getting that wild card spot.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the Steelers. They're going to be around 500. They just are every year. They don't have losing seasons.
They always play tough games.
That defense is elite, but my goodness, man, if this offense can't figure it out, they can't hang with elite teams.
No.
And this offense is putrid. I can't even believe they won that game. Just a crazy comeback.
Great defense in that last drive.
The Ravens
step up.
The Ravens dropping 7
awesome.
passes certainly helped their case, but I don't think this is a sustainable way to make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
If your entire stadium is chanting "Fire Matt Canada" and you're like, they're above 500.
Send them back to Canada.
That video too of them all.
Boo his fat ass.
That he didn't call that play. So when they showed the reaction of Pickens scoring the game winner, he was just.
This was him.
Yeah, because he's like, "Oh wow, we didn't score all fucking day," and then Kenny calls his own
big touchdown.
Play,
he just looks up at the camera. And he's
everyone
just like,
around him is freaking out, happy, and he's just like grumpy.
He's like, "Oh, they audibled out of my play." Yeah, so I'm gonna go with the Steelers. I could see him going 8-9 and missing out.
All right, and last from Austin, he says, should fantasy managers be worried about Jonathan Taylor?
Absolutely not. He was getting eased in. He was on a pitch count. They're going to ramp him up over the next month. Yeah, Zach Moss popping off is a funny story.
It does make me a little bit more worried because now I think Moss might be a little bit more involved than I thought because I thought Jonathan Taylor would be like essentially getting every touch, but now it makes me think Moss will be more involved because how do you not involve a guy when he runs like that?
Yeah.
And he's ran well. Like, this isn't the first game this year that Moss has looked good. Like, that's his third game over 100 rushing yards this season. So, it clearly is more dynamic, and maybe they don't want to, like, run Taylor in the ground. So, I'm not too worried, but I'm definitely lowering expectations a little bit.
That's fair. I mean, they did just sign him to a huge extension, making him one of the top paid running backs in the league, average per year.
Mm-hmm. But it's for 3 years, so it's like they might not want to just be like, all right, you're right back in, going to like a 90% guy. Like,
yeah, I don't think it's going to be like 2 years ago where Naheem Hines was behind him. It was a totally different skill set. That's just more of a pass-catching back. We're like, okay, Taylor's lining up every fucking play.
Yeah.
Moss will definitely take some touches. He's not going to be like a Saquon type of workload or a Jacobs type of workload.
Yeah, he'll probably
where
be
they're
like
getting all the
75-25 versus like a 90-10 that I'd hope for.
Yeah.
But still, I view him as a low-end RB1 now, not a high-end RB1.
A good punishment idea Jared has right here. He says, loser has to compete all the challenges from an episode of Impractical Jokers. Winner picks the episode.
Oh my god.
That'd be awesome.
That is so good.
We'd have to figure out a way to film that, but that would actually be so funny.
That is so good.
There's some really good ones.
That is so good.
Yeah,
like
we
the
could do
high
it.
five one where you have to strip if you don't get the high five.
Dude, that is so good, Jared. That's definitely in the repertoire.
Yeah, and the punishment at the end, we'll just have to do something that's realistic because some of those aren't realistic for our budget. But
an easy one here that Walmart had. He said, sit on the Around the Felt Instagram live for 5 hours straight on Sunday football.
So you can't watch the football; you just got to sit on live.
No, you could watch it.
I would
but
say. I mean, I don't even think that's much of a punishment. I mean,
but no, he didn't. Yeah, but if you sit on the live for 5 hours, like everything you do is right there.
That's
anyone who wants to watch can watch.
we should throw in some like wild cards too. Like
you gotta take a league. You gotta bring it in with you.
Like every hour.
Just go to the Jets game or the Giants game, just leave your phone on the whole time in the crowd. He's like, "What's up, everybody?" Just walking around the stadium, taking a piss, buying a hot dog. We know you'll be buying a lot of hot dogs.
You're getting like a fight with someone.
I am not gonna eat a hot dog for probably till next summer. After that, I mean, that was brutal. If you haven't seen that, check it out.
You might be because one of our season-long punishments has to do with hot dogs too. So
that's right.
You might be. That was
that would ruin hot
Saints
dogs
over under wins.
Saints over under,
and that's at 9.5. That
12 dogs in 20 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
at least you can just power through
that
it.
One's rough.
I think that might be slightly easier just because you can power through it. Versus just let it sit there and fill up your gut.
So Walmart also said, Tong, how do we feel about my preseason statements that Sam Howell and DJ would have similar stats while Howell is on a rookie deal?
Well, I mean, it looks good right now.
It's really freaking good.
It looks good right now because the Giants' offense has been anemic.
Well, and before you say the O-line, Washington's got just as bad of an O-line.
They do. They have just as bad as an offensive line. But I will say I'd take Terry McLaurin on the Giants any day of the week, and we haven't had Saquon. But, I mean, Howell's
Samuel.
besides that Buffalo game, Howell's looked good. He's impressed me. So, I mean,
look, this is a guy that was
like
also,
right.
like, at one point slated to be the first overall pick. So the talent's there for Howell as well.
Yeah, he looked really good at UNC when he had all of his weapons, and then, like, they all graduated out, and it was him and a bunch of young bucks, and he kind of
plus, you don't go to a basketball school to play football.
Commanders
Come
have
on.
good weapons, too. I mean, it's not like he's throwing it to nobody.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I do like their receiving core a lot. So, I mean, Howell looks pretty good, man. So, you were right.
Long season, though. But, right now he is right.
And last up from him, Watson or Goff, week to week in Superflex Dynasty?
Goff.
I don't
It's
even
gotta
think
be
that's
Goff.
a question.
Yeah.
I mean, Deshaun Watson's looked poor, and Goff in that offense.
Goff's
I mean,
looked great.
He's looked great, and it's just so nice because they have a dynamic running game because their offensive line is probably the second best in the league behind Philadelphia. They can run the ball down your throat, play action off of it. You got Amon-Ra. You finally are getting Jameson Williams back in the mix. But, I mean, he's throwing a Khalif Raymond. Like, it doesn't fucking matter. He's got time. He's picking defenses apart. He looks like a number one overall pick. I think it's got to be Goff over Watson.
Yeah. Yeah, not much to debate there.
And last but not least, we got Hugh Chavez.
Oh, Jesus.
And boy, oh boy, did he have something to say. It's going to take me a while to read all of this, so you guys just bear with me. Okay, let's start this off. I would love to call in to the pod one of these weeks and discuss Danny Penny's struggles in primetime. I believe he has another primetime game this weekend against Buffalo on Sunday night.
You would be right there.
We can work on setting this call up the following week after he falls to 1-13 in primetime. For the record, the Giants are not my team. I just don't know how someone can defend a quarterback who's 1-12 in primetime games and making that type of money. The O-line is very bad, but you're telling me that out of his 3 primetime games this year, he couldn't lead the Giants down the field and throw for 1 single touchdown? He's got 0 TDs and 5 interceptions in those 3 games. All I'm saying is that if you're paying someone $40 million a year, don't you expect him to have more than 1 damn win in 13 primetime games? You're delusional if you continue to support someone that's 1-12 in primetime TV. I don't think you realize how bad 1-12 is. Stats don't lie, and he's not the most sacked quarterback in the league. There's no reason why out of 5 games this year, his only game with a passing touchdown came against a poverty Cardinals team. Danny Pennies is robbing the Giants organization and the fans of New York. You just got people like Colin and that fool behind the camera that are too delusional to admit it.
Dude. All I'm going to say is Hugh shoots back. That's awesome.
Fucking reveal yourself, Hugh. Reveal yourself. All right.
Way to defend yourself, Hugh.
So,
I respect you more now that you gave some points on it. You are right. I honestly didn't even realize that when you put it into perspective like that. Like, the Giants' offense hasn't been able to move the ball at all in those 3 primetime games, even in garbage time. So that is a bad look, and I'm hoping he plays this week. Not only because you want to see Daniel Jones a better player, but like also nobody wants to watch Tyrod Taylor. Nobody wants to watch him.
Okay, in response
There's a
to
reason
that,
he's a backup.
You're right. He's not the most sacked. He's the second most sacked. Okay. 2, I am not saying that Jones is playing good football. He's not. He doesn't look like the Jones from last year. He looks skittish behind that offensive line. He looks less confident himself. He's not really standing in the pocket because he's getting hit so much. He has been pressured 81 times this season, which is the 3rd most by any player through 5 games since 2009. They have allowed 18 sacks over the last 2 games, most by any team in a 2-game span since the 1986 Eagles. And he's on pace to get sacked over 90 times this season. So when you're getting hit like that, you're not going to feel confident in the pocket. I'm not going to sit here and say he's not part of the problem, but to put it on him, I think is, you sound like a fucking casual.
Whoa!
Also, when you're without Andrew Thomas, an all-pro tackle, and without Saquon Barkley, one of the best running backs in football, I mean, what do you want the guy to do? He's got to play better. He's got to play better. Absolutely, he's got to play better. But like to think that Jones is the issue. Also, every team knows what they're fucking running right now. Like they saw film from last season. They watched in the offseason. They know how to prepare for this offense that they created for Jones under Dable and Kafka. They run a lot of short routes because they can't protect. No teams think that those receivers are going to beat them on double moves right now. Because right now their burners are Hyatt, who's a rookie that they're clearly easing in, and I don't think he's ready for a full-time role. If he was, he'd be playing.
Yeah.
Slayton's fast, but I mean he's not known for it, really. He's not a burner. And then Paris Campbell, who hasn't done fucking shit. So no one respects them to go deep because, one, you can't protect, and two, those receivers aren't going to beat us. So when you throw underneath, teams are driving on it, which is causing more turnovers, and there's no possibility for yards after the catch. They're predictable right now. And now with no Barkley, and with that line, they haven't been able to run the ball at all. Like, at all. Like, Jones himself, they're not even doing design runs for him. He's getting hit too much, and it's just not going to work. So when you can't run the ball, what they focus on is play action off of Barkley. That's when Jones at his best. Under center, play action, roll out, get him in space. They can't do that. They have no running game. So they have a lot of issues. Jones is part of it, but to put it all on Jones, I think is a little ridiculous. He's certainly a part of it, but...
Hugh the keyboard warrior.
You mean pennies? You're talking about pennies?
Come on, that was good. That was a good rant.
That's a good rebuttal. I'd love to bring Hugh on, whoever it is. Unless his name is Hugh.
I think he's too much of a coward.
Hugh, if you...
come on next week after they lose, because let's be honest, they're not winning next week.
Hugh,
unless Tyrod gets his revenge.
If Hugh Chavez reveals himself, they'll get a free Around the Felt t-shirt on me.
Oh, wow. There you go, Hugh. That's a freaking steal.
That's a steal, dude. Save yourself some money because you're going to buy it anyways. You're such a big fan of the show.
Yeah, speaking of that, we just actually finished designing all the 2 shirts and the hats, so definitely be on the lookout now because that stuff will be coming out
the
soon.
Designs are done. We've been saying it for a while.
Yeah.
The designs are done. We're in the home stretch. We're in the home stretch. We got some good
early
shit
next
for you
week,
guys.
or maybe even this weekend. Look out because it's a coming.
Yeah,
it's a coming.
You'll be surprised.
And there ain't no slowing it down. It's a coming.
This stuff's really cool.
Really cool.
All right,
Cool.
guys. Well, that's all we got for questions.
All we got for questions. All right, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to start recapping the games from Week 5. What's up, guys? It's Colin from Around the Felt. Thanks to the Niners covering -3.5, we get to watch Reagan dance on TikTok all week. So make sure you're checking out those videos, share them, spread them around. I'm freaking loving it. Now let's get back to the show.
All right, welcome back in, guys. Let's get right into this weekend.
We didn't do too hot this weekend, brother. Well, you went.
Don't put me in the same category as you, motherfucker.
You went 9-4 straight up, 7-6 against the spread. We're recording Monday, so before the Green Bay Las Vegas game.
Mm-hmm.
I went 7-6 straight up in an ugly 4-9 against the spread.
Hopefully you faded his picks because you'd be making some money.
I expect better of myself, but I hit the one that counted. Niners -3.5, so now we get to watch you dance all week. But let's start with my New York Giants and the Miami Dolphins. I don't think we have to spend a ton of time on the Giants. I mean, the only positive...
You just want to skip over the London game?
I could really... Okay, we'll get to the London game after, sorry. The only thing that really looked good for the Giants was Darren Waller.
You all
had
right?
8 catches. Yeah, Joe's just choking on a glizzy over there. The only thing positive, Waller had 8 for 86. You know, getting him going in the offense a little bit more. They did force some turnovers. They had a pick 6. Kayvon had another sack.
Yeah, that pick six was huge because it gave him a chance going into halftime.
It absolutely gave him a chance. You know, McKinney forced a fumble. Kayvon recovered. Kayvon had another sack, now 4 in the season, so it's good. He's stepping up. But Daniel Jones did not play well, and he was their highest-rated offensive player. I mean,
that's crazy.
All their offensive line was graded by PFF,
crazy.
like under 30. Like
sounds about right.
Their right guard that came in after Marcus McKeithen got hurt. He had a 75% pass block win rate that graded out 50th out of 50 qualifying guards. But before McKeithen left the game, his pass block win rate was at 33%. So put that into perspective. Terrible performance. Season's over. Now on the Dolphins side...
Just casually throw that season's over. Wait, so that means if you guys missed the playoffs, last time I checked, you're going to be caddying for me because that was one of our season-long things. Okay.
Yeah, it's...
Sorry, gotta put the graphic back on. So that was one of our season-long things.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to caddy for you while you shoot a fucking 130. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
No,
well, I actually don't let him fool you guys. Like, I'm 120. I'm 120. So.
Guys, when Reagan's like, "What is this course?"
A 120 sober.
He goes, "What is this course?" Like a 144. I'm like, "What the fuck you mean?" He goes, "Double par." I'm like, "Dude, no one looks at a course and says, what's the double par?" What is this, a par 72? He goes, "What, a 144?" I'm like,
well, you better get ready to answer
look at it that way.
Well, you better get ready to answer those kind of questions, caddy.
Yeah, I am gonna have to fucking caddy. That's gonna suck too. I have a caddy bib, so
I get really bad. I have like loose. I don't have the tight grip on my club, so like sometimes like I just like throw it because I like lose control of the club and it goes flying into the woods. So like, bring some long pants so you don't get no like tick bites or anything fetching my club out of the woods.
That one's gonna suck. That one's definitely gonna suck.
Hey, not for me.
On the Dolphins side, I mean, my goodness, this offense is explosive as fuck.
A-Chain,
that 76-yard touchdown run. I mean, that was a blur.
Dude, do you realize how many yards he's averaging right now per carry? He's at 12.1. Dude has 460 rushing yards on 38 carries.
Now he did hurt his knee,
so he might miss some time.
All McDaniel said was, he's dealing with a knee, so we don't know the extent of that. But man, he's electric.
What fumble though?
He did have a fumble, but
Dude,
then he came back and scored.
This
some
freaking
76.
guy might end up getting 1,000 yards in less than 100 carries. He's on pace to.
That would be
He's
absurd.
on pace to do it. Like,
That would
smash
be
it to it.
And I love how they use him. He is the perfect running back for this offense. And I love that they line him up out wide and have Mostert in there, and they motion in, they fake to Mostert and
He's
the
a weapon.
ball.
He's a weapon.
I mean, he's electric. Tyreek Hill does Tyreek Hill things. 8 for 181 and a touchdown. And he toasted Trey Hawkins, our rookie corner. Looked like a coverage breakdown. Waddle's really not getting
It's all right,
involved
Hawkins.
as
A lot
much.
of people get burnt by Tyreek.
Yeah, it's okay. But, dude, Waddle's really not been getting involved as much this year.
They don't need him to when you have guys like A-Chain and Mostert stepping up. Obviously,
when they got players that just take it away in one play, then there's going to be less opportunity.
Exactly. It's not even like he's playing bad. They just literally don't need him to. He's just like Joe just said, they have just so many guys with breakaway speed. Waddle might be the fourth fastest guy on the team now. Which is crazy to say because he'd be the fastest on most teams.
I think it's like A-Chan or Hill. I think
because Mostert's faster than Waddle.
Fast, but I think Waddle's probably.
Well, they have the top fastest.
Waddle's
speeds
got none of the top 7 speeds so far.
Yeah, Waddle doesn't have any of it. It's Mostert, A-Chain, and Hill.
And then on top of that, they still have Berrios and Chosen Anderson, who are both really fast. Also, they have so many guys. Like
Chase Claypool used to be fast.
Yeah,
they actually set the record for the most yards in NFL history through 5 games, surpassing the greatest show on turf, Rams. And I don't know if you guys saw the Josh McDaniel presser where he's like, very more sarcastically as he does it.
Josh, you mean Mike?
Oh yeah, Mike McDaniel. Yeah,
I'm just
Josh
saying,
McDaniel.
That's
sucks.
just not fair.
That's
not fair to Mike McDaniel.
Very sarcastically. He's like, great, mission
comparison.
Accomplished. When we set out in this season, we wanted to have the most total yards through 5 weeks. Like,
yeah, he's like, let's wrap it up like we did what we wanted to 5 weeks.
But the Dolphins are now 4-1.
I'm excited. We're planning on going to the Jets-Dolphins game on Black Friday, so we'll get to see this high-paced offense. It'll be exciting to watch these guys live.
A special little surprise. I don't want to spoil it yet for that game, but
it's going to be cool to watch all these guys live.
We got something planned. Yeah, it will be fun to watch. And now they sit atop the division, 4-1 over the Buffalo Bills, who lost this week to the
My upset of the
Jaguars.
week getting me
3-2.
3-2. I called it. These Bills did not look ready to play.
They did not. They flew out 2 days before the whole time shift, and you made a good point. The Jaguars are staying in London, and they won 25-20.
Plus, it's like at this point, like there's so many Jaguar fans out there because they want this team bad to stay out there and be London's team.
Absolutely.
So like for them, it was. I mean, the Bills travel well, so I wouldn't say it was like a home game, but I mean, they had a lot of fans out there. Like if the Jaguars were playing a different team, I think it would have been like a home game in Jacksonville.
Yeah. Lawrence looked good, man.
Really good.
315, a touchdown.
Calvin
Ridley
Ridley
got going again, and Kirk. They coexisted really well. Etienne ran for $136 and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, well, that Buffalo
he played
run
against
D
himself
didn't look
in fantasy.
Yeah, I saw that. That was funny.
That was funny. His Buffalo defense, you could see the injuries start to catch up for him, man.
Yeah.
No Tre'Davious White, no Milano.
This Jaguars defense
didn't really play.
This Jaguars defense stepped up too. I mean, all of Buffalo's points kind of came at the end when they went into that like prevent thing. Like going into the third quarter, going into the fourth, the Bills had 7 points.
Yeah.
Like this Jacksonville defense is
not
stepping
known
up.
for their defense, but
looked real good out there.
Well. The Bills just didn't run the ball all day.
No, they couldn't.
James Cook had 5 for -4. Murray 2 for 6.
Harris
3 for 13. Like Allen 4 for 14, but he did have a touchdown.
And the craziest part is the Jaguars didn't even have any sacks.
No, they game planned for the Bills very well. Diggs did his thing again though, 8 for 121, a touchdown. Gabe Davis scored for his 4th week in a row. I don't know, man. The Bills are just so up and down for me. Like they'll look like they could win the Super Bowl and they blow everyone out, and then the next week they look like shit. They're such a streaky team.
No, that's for sure. All right. Next up, we got the Falcons over the Texans. The Falcons won on a game-winning field goal, 21-19.
Cover the 1.5.
They did. That was one of your 4
What
wins.
am I for, baby? My Falcons.
But a cover is a cover. So
Cover's a cover.
Ritter finally stepped up and looked pretty good. I mean,
man, he threw for 329. Kyle Pitts, baby, 7 for 87. Let's go. Feed my guy Kyle Pitts.
Both tight ends, because Johnny was 6 for 67 and London was 6 for 78. Ritter finally got to air it out. He had a great fantasy day too. He had like 26 points for fantasy. I mean, granted, he had a rushing touchdown too, so that helps right there.
Yeah,
you get that little boost compared to the passing touchdown. But I mean, hey, he looked the part, and he still has not lost at home. So I guess it's for those of you out there.
He also hasn't lost at home in college.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He never at home, hasn't lost yet at home in the NFL.
So it looks like that's a good betting strategy right now. Is if the Falcons are at home, a good bet would be the place to bet on the Falcons.
Take the Falcons. Yeah, there were talks last week that Ritter could potentially get benched. I
think he silenced them for now.
Yeah, he silenced them for now. Granted, it is. I mean, I don't even know what to think of Houston. They've been so bad for so long.
Yeah, I don't even think you could say granted it's Houston anymore. I mean, it still looked good. I mean,
you see that Bijan touchdown?
I did. That was a good catch.
Yeah, do you see the over the head angle?
Yeah. I haven't.
You haven't? Dude, it's insane. The ball's like behind his back, and then he like
I know. I saw you like pinned
pinned it. Yeah.
But he's playing the wrong sport.
Yeah, I mean that was beautiful to watch. Stroud, I mean, wasn't his best game, but still took care of the football.
He lost Tank Dell too, which didn't help.
He did lose Tank Dell.
He lost Tank Dell early with an injury, and Tank Dell's kind of been his guy right now. Him and Nico. So.
Yeah, Tank Dell with concussion. So hopefully he's back.
And Atlanta obviously had a plan for Nico Collins because he's been one of the guys who's had a ridiculous amount of receiving yards. So to see him only go 3 for 39 with that, as good as he's been, Atlanta came in with a good game plan to shut him down. So
absolutely. All right, next the Carolina Panthers dropped to 0-5. And the Lions look really good. They're now 4-1. They beat the Panthers 42-24. Young threw another 2 picks, but he did throw 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, it's probably even with it being 2 picks, this is probably the best we've seen Bryce Young, which isn't saying much because it's been a rough season for him so far.
It's been a rough season for the number 1 overall pick, but Adam Thielen, it has not been a rough season for him. He looks like his career
looks like a legit weapon for him.
Yeah, 11 for 107 and a touchdown. I mean, Mingo's starting to get involved a little bit more.
Which you'd like to see.
Running game struggled again. Sanders has been a bust.
Yeah, I feel like that's been one of the biggest things that's hurting this team is they have no solid run game. Although it's not like the Texans have had a solid run game either, and Stroud's getting it done. But I mean, it would definitely help Bryce Young out a lot if they could really establish their run. Because I mean, they were 23 of 99, so they kind of just. I don't want to say they gave up on it because you almost have to give up on it because Detroit was up 28-10 at halftime, so it's not like you could run much in the second half. But you'd like to see them establish the run more early so you don't have to make Bryce Young throw the ball 40 times.
Absolutely.
Because that's never a recipe to win. Having your quarterback throw that many times, especially as a rookie, that's not a recipe to win.
The Bears are going to look like geniuses if they trade back from number 1 last year, get DJ Moore, and this pick ends up being the Caleb Williams pick.
Even if it's not, it's looking like top 5.
It's definitely going to be top 5.
Yeah.
Definitely going to be top 5. So, and I don't know. On the Detroit side, no Amon-Ra, no problem. Goff throws for 236 and 3 touchdowns. Montgomery does his thing, or $109 and a touchdown.
Yeah, he is. He's insane, Montgomery, this year.
He's running so well behind that offensive line. Laporta had another 2 touchdowns. He looks like the best rookie tight end.
He looks like already debatable top 5 tight end.
Dude,
because the tight ends have been so bad this year, most of them. It's not like there's been a lot of production. He might actually. Let me check this out real quick, but he might be the number 1 fantasy tight end right now.
He might be. I mean,
because it's not like Kelsey
something
missed
about those
game.
Iowa tight ends, man. Something about those Iowa tight ends.
Because Kittle, he had 3 touchdowns last year. He didn't have any yards.
That's a classic Kittle game. Do nothing for 3 weeks and then have 3 touchdowns.
We can talk more about that, but he actually might be the number 1 Yeah, he's the number 1 fantasy tight end right now in half-point scoring.
That's crazy.
So I'd imagine all formats.
My one buddy has Kelsey and Laporta, so
that's a bad problem to have for him, clearly. Because, I mean, I'm trying to find his stats, but still. Yeah, he's already got 3 receiving touchdowns. It's not even like he's had, crazy stats, but it's just that tight end position for fantasy is so weak. So the fact that any of you guys who probably either got him late or picked him up on waivers, you're real happy with his production. Because you don't see a lot of rookie tight ends produce early on. It usually takes them a year or 2 to really become a viable fantasy asset. So
absolutely. And on the defensive side of the ball, Hutchinson with another sack. He looks like an all-pro caliber player this season. He leads the league in pressures over Parsons, I believe, by 6 or 7.
Yeah, wow.
I mean, Jaguars are probably kicking themselves for taking Trayvon Walker over Hutchinson, but if you're the Lions, you love to see Hutch get going like this.
He had a pick, too.
Another one. Yeah,
he picked off a screen.
I saw Field Yates had some crazy stat where it's there's only one guy with 4 interceptions and I believe over 10 sacks since the start of 2021, and it's Aiden Hutchinson, and he came in the league in 2022.
Yeah, there was another one they were saying he has more picks than the other top 4 picks combined, but granted, 2 of them are Walker and Thibodeau, so it's more so a knock on Stingley and Sauce that he has more picks than both of them combined. Cause
it's just crazy.
You don't really expect Thibodeau,
they
Hutchinson,
also said that
or...
he looks like Waluigi out if he plays
football. Did you see that one video? He's running. He's
I saw him run and get absolutely lit up on his pick, though, and then he was hobbling off. I'm like, oh boy, but I guess he was fine. But he got freaking lit up as soon as he picked it off.
Yeah. All right, let's transition to the Titans
Luigi.
at the Colts. Your Titans. We were both on the Titans this week.
Yeah.
Not a good pick. I was all over Derrick Henry because he's historically shit on the Colts, and he only had 13 for 43. Tannehill didn't look good again, 264 and a pick, but at least DeAndre Hopkins came alive. 8 for
huge game for him.
He looked really
Vintage
good, man.
Hopkins game.
Vintage Hopkins, just, I don't know. He made a sick catch along the sideline, but on the Colts side, we kind of talked about it.
I mean, they ran the ball down their throat. I mean, 193 on the ground, and most of it was Zach Moss. I mean, come on, this Titans run D should be better. I mean, we were saying the reason we thought the Titans was going to win would be because the Colts couldn't run the ball, and the Colts were able to run it down their throat. So, I don't know. Not great.
Minshew,
Josh Downs looked good, too.
Yeah, I mean, 6 for 97. You like that out of the rookie. Minshew went 11 of 14 for $155, so that's very efficient for him.
Yeah, he came right in and took over and
they're
got
gonna
him the win.
They're going to have a puncher's chance with Minshew, but...
Yeah, he's definitely the safer than Richardson. Like,
Yeah,
you feel more safe, like he's a better game manager, but the upside is just not there.
Yeah, like
you don't have
Richardson
that same
makes
upside.
plays that can win you a game.
Yeah.
You know, where Minshew's probably not doing that.
But he's not going to lose you a game either.
Yeah, I do think, though, that these Colts are going to come back down to earth at some point, right?
I think they have to.
I think they have to.
Let's talk about a big blowout this
Oh,
week.
boy, your Saints, Reagan, 34-0.
Yeah.
You know, I thought the Patriots at home would figure it out.
I didn't. Not when you're
drumming
missing
it
your
last
two
week.
best defensive players.
But I think, the defense.
That's why it was easy for me.
I think the offense is the problem here. I mean,
the
Mac
offense
Jones
is the problem,
threw
but
2 picks.
with Judon and Gonzalez, you don't let the Saints hang 34 on your head. It's more in the 20s because I still think when your offense can't move the ball.
I'd be curious to see the time of possession in this game because I'm sure that Patriots defense was on the field all day because Mac Jones got benched again the second week in a row, 12 of 22, 110, 2 picks. Then Bailey Zappi comes in and goes 3 of 9 for 22 yards. So.
At least you know he ain't the answer either.
No, he's not the answer.
If you're going 3 and 9 against second units, you ain't the answer, pal.
Yeah, Bill says they're gonna have to start from square one, just reboot the entire offense because something's not working.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's pathetic. Stevenson 8 for 24, Zeke 8 for 21. Like they can't run the ball.
They can't pass the ball.
No, on the Saints side, I mean,
their offense looks great.
They spread the ball around in the air. They ran the ball down their throat.
Huge
Kamara,
game for Carr. That
80.
shoulder's looking good. I saw
Yeah.
him throwing it downfield a ton. So that shoulder's looking good. Having Kamara back definitely helps this offense. It just adds another dynamic piece. And then Kendre Miller looked good too. I mean, granted, I'm sure he's not going to get that many touches normally, but he looked good, a good compliment to Kamara.
I like Kendre Miller. I liked him coming out of TCU. So
and their defense.
I think he's the long-term.
Yeah, he probably is because Kamara's getting up there
behind Kamara. But so it's good to see him getting involved.
And this defense is just—they're legit. I mean, that was my big reason for being so high in the Saints this year is because this defense is still legit.
Defense has looked very good, and the offense can figure it out. Yeah,
the Saints have been in every game this year. Like they haven't really. I mean, that Bucs game wasn't great, but honestly, if it wasn't for that Carr going down, I think this is a 4-1 team. But between them, I'm not really high in the Falcons still. But between them, the Falcons, and the Bucs, it's a 3-team race for this division because Panthers are OUT out.
I like that.
Sorry, Dolph.
I like that. All right, let's go Ravens, Steelers.
Oh, boy, the Milk Mile game.
This is the Milk Mile game. And the 2 games that the Ravens lost, I'm like, oh, my God. How do they lose those fucking games?
Yeah.
Just brutal. 7 drops out of the Ravens, which I saw somebody's like the 3rd most in the past, I don't know how many years, but several years. Pathetic. Aguilar missed a touchdown down the sideline. Andrews had a bad drop. Zay Flowers had a bad drop.
Rough fourth quarter for
Bateman
Lamar.
had a couple drops.
Really bad fourth quarter for Lamar too.
You can't blame Lamar though, dude.
That pick he threw in the red zone.
Yes,
that was bad.
The one to Odell.
That was bad because
throw.
if you don't throw that pick, you probably win that game.
Yes,
you probably win that game because then you give the Steelers the ball back and then Pickett goes down and drives them in. It's 14-10 versus. They had the ball in the red zone 10-7.
You hear what Joey Porter said to Odell after that pick?
No.
He goes, "You should focus on being a family man now." Saying you're washed, you're done.
That's funny. But
great play by
that
Joey
pick,
Porter.
Then at the end he gets strip sacked, which doesn't help, and then he gets sacked at the end when he's trying to do something. So I don't really blame that on him. But a rough fourth quarter. But that pick, you can't for an MVP type guy. You can't be doing that. I mean,
Absolutely.
that's like a rookie mistake right there.
Yeah.
Like at that point, don't force anything. Take the points. You go up a touchdown. Instead, you give him the ball back, and then Kenny Pickett, you probably think your defense that's not going to happen, but it doesn't matter. Kenny Pickett drives it down, and you're down 14-10, and then you go right back down and fumble it.
Yeah, that was a sick play from George Pickens, burning Marlon Humphrey.
He looks like the real deal.
6 for 130 and a touchdown. Yeah, he's going to be legit.
It'll be interesting to see how he looks once Deontay comes back, because it seems like he's been coming into his own without Deontay. But I mean, he looks like the real deal. They have a good. They're just so good at developing wide receivers over there.
They are, absolutely.
Like, it seems like they just lose. They lose someone, get someone else in there, and they just have some, like, I don't know.
They're very bad up front, though. That's their problem. They can't. I mean,
they can't run the ball.
14 for 37, Warren 9 for 40. They can't run the ball, and then you just have Kenny Pickett sitting shotgun, and everyone knows what you're going to do. It's a very stale offense, not very unique. You're not really scheming up guys to get open.
No.
It's more like, okay, George Pickens, go beat a guy one-on-one. You know, like it's not sustainable.
Yeah, you can't feel confident as a Steelers fan. I mean, you could be confident in the defense. Like, I still think this team's going to be fighting for a playoff spot.
I love T.J. Watt, dude.
Because this defense is too good for them not to be. But this offense, I mean, it's rough. They got to figure out how to get the run game going so they don't have to worry about Pickett making the plays.
It is rough.
But it was nice seeing him step up in a big moment.
Well, that wraps up the 1 o'clock games.
Yeah, you want to take a quick break?
Yeah, we'll take a quick break.
We'll come back with the 4 o'clock and then the night games.
Yeah.
Hey guys, like we said earlier, we finally got the merch coming to you guys. We finished designing it tonight, so check out our website. That's where you'll be able to order any merch you want, whether it's one of the shirts or the trucker hat.
Welcome back in, guys. Let's get to the 4 p.m. slate. Let's start with the Eagles and the Rams. 23-14 win for the Eagles. They continue to 5-0. The Rams dropped to 2-3. Jalen Hurts did his thing, threw for over 300 yards. A.J. Brown again with a dominant game, 6 for 127.
Yeah, he looks good.
He looks fucking dominant. Smith not really involved. 1 catch for 6 yards.
That was a big Goddard game.
Big Goddard game. If you're an Eagles fan, you love to see that because it shows anyone can beat you in this offense.
Well, they also, I know Sirianni came out and said, like, we got to get him the ball more. And then the first drive, he was 5 for 52 and a score.
Yeah.
So they, like, were just manufacturing touches for him. Which, as an NFL fan, like, it makes me so mad when you see all these other teams, like, come out and say, we got to get this guy the ball, and then they go out and do it. Like, and this isn't even their best player, and they're still doing it. So, like, as a Jeff fan, it's like, why can't we just do this with Garrett Wilson? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Get him the touches. I'm sure, well, I guess for you guys, you don't have a ton of good wide receivers, but, like, it would be like if they weren't
that's like us Waller. Like, Waller had to be more involved.
I mean, he was more involved
this game. Yeah.
It's good to see
They knew they had to do it. But, yeah, this team looks really fucking good. Jalen Carter had 2 sacks. He's now number 1 amongst all rookies in pass rush win rate and sacks. I think he's the highest graded defensive rookie overall.
Yeah, he's
the league fucked up letting the Eagles get this guy because he's already starting and he looks like a fucking beast.
Mm-hmm.
On the Rams side of the ball, Cooper Kupp back like he never left. 8 catches for 118 yards on 12 targets.
That was an easy hit for you. I think it hitting.
Let's go
early
baby.
On in the second
I had
quarter.
Over 63.5 on the first drive. He had like 55 yards and 5 receptions on 6 targets. So that was good to see. And Puka Nacua had 7 for 71, a touchdown. So they can both coexist.
Joe also hit on his leg in this. He had Swift over. I think it was 64.5 rushing yards. He had 70. So, and I hit mine, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Drock was the one that sold this week. So we were 3 of 1.
Drock sold.
He sold on his lock. He sold on that. I mean, I think his ego's getting to him a little bit. You guys might have to humble him in the comments a little bit.
He has to get humbled a little bit. But Stafford, I mean, does this thing. This Rams offense looks good, man. I mean, they've lost to good teams, and they've played them tough. They've lost to the Niners, played them tough. Eagles played them tough. So I think this is a team that's, now that Cubs back in the fold, it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah. No, I mean, it is going to be fun to watch. It was cool to see them coexist, too. I mean, both guys had double-digit targets. Both guys had over 7 catches. So Nacua got the touchdown, had the less yards. But I mean, it seems like both of these guys are still going to be. I'd say Kupp is still. I view him as a wide receiver 1, and I kind of view Nacua as a high-end wide receiver 2.
Now, a question for you, because people were asking me this: where would you rank the Kupp and Nacua duo amongst all the elite wide receiver duos in the league? I had them behind. I had Hill and Waddle 1, Brown and Smith 2. I believe Chase and Higgins 3.
Yeah, that's a good debate. I mean, we'll have to see how the season go.
I think I had him 4th or 5th, just because I'm like,
I don't even know if I do Waddle and Hill at 1. Like, I might actually.
You can go any of those 3, and I wouldn't be mad.
Yeah, like I don't know. I mean, I'd say Higgins hasn't looked amazing this year. So I mean, Chase has looked amazing, but I don't know. Yeah, you can make a case for all of them.
Just because that last game, though, like he wasn't amazing. Like
no, the past 3 he's been like really good.
Yeah, I mean, I just had.
I
mean, we've seen Kupp win the Triple Crown. You know, Nakua's off to an historic start. So I put him like 4th or 5th,
debate,
just because
Eagles
they're in the debate. But I just
sure.
need to see him coexist.
I would never put them top 3
a little
though.
longer.
The Eagles?
I don't think so.
Really?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's bold.
They're definitely top 3
Like I would say
as a duo. Brown and Smith is top 3.
I would say I would put Chase and Higgins over. Actually, I mean, I guess it's too early.
Because like both of them went for over 1,000 last year. I don't know. It's definitely a good debate, but yeah, they're definitely like pushing that top 3. I'd
Absolutely.
say they probably are 4 right now, just because we've seen all these other duos do it for a full season.
Ayuk and Debo's really good too.
I was just gonna say that's a really good.
The only reason I wouldn't put Ayuk and Debo is because they don't have the numbers, and I think they could have the numbers to compete with these guys. But when you have a guy like McCaffrey and then you have an elite tight end like Kittle,
there's too many mouths to feed. Yeah, absolutely.
And Debo's like half the reason he's as good as he is.
Are for sure up there.
Yeah, and half of Debo's like big reason for him being a wide receiver comes in the fact that you can use him in the run game too.
Yeah, I think they're definitely getting up there, but Seahawks got a good one as well. You know,
there's a lot of good duos out there. I mean, you can make a case for a lot of duos.
I just need to see it for a longer period.
I'd say they're already probably top 5 though. But we got to see it for longer than one game.
It'd be tough to.
I agree. Small sample size. All right, next. Speaking of the Bengals, they finally get back on track. 34-20 win over the Cardinals. Burrow looked really good. Of course, as soon as I bench him in fantasy, he goes off.
You had to bench him.
Yeah, and I started Goff, and Goff went off as well. So
there's no reason you should have played Burrow going into the game. I mean, he's been terrible for fantasy. He was averaging 8 fantasy points a game going into this game. So
yeah, not good.
Anyone that started him, like, good on your call, but like
definitely.
Or maybe you're like, fuck it, I have no one else. I got to start him.
Yeah,
and it's the Cardinals, you know.
And even if you did choose to go, if you traded him away or dropped him, like. It's one game against the Cardinals. Like
this is why you don't drop them. This is why you don't drop them. You said last week, you're like,
I said you could. I wasn't saying you had to. I was saying you could drop him or trade him because at that point, the quarterback position, unless you're like one of the top guys, it's one of those things you can stream. Like I don't like wasting multiple roster spots for quarterbacks. And at that point, he didn't look like he was going to turn it around. It's still one game. I hope he continues to put them together. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's the Cardinals. It's not like you had like a classic Joe Burrow game where he let up one of the best defenses in the league.
I hear you. But it is encouraging to see.
It is definitely
with 317, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Jamar Chase set a Bengals record for most receptions in a game, 15 for $192, 3 touchdowns on 19
Loved having
targets.
him in fantasy.
Woo! Holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, freaking most full-point PPR points this week. DJ Moore beat him in half-point. But, I mean, the fact that if you told me coming into this week you're going to have 2 receivers that have 3 touchdowns and put up 45 fantasy points plus, I'd be like, no way. So...
It's wild,
huge week for him. Huge week
as someone
for DJ
that has
Moore.
him in one league who didn't really need him to go off to win, and then I lost another league because he went off. Like we were
I'm going to probably win a league because he got me. My team shit the bed, but then when you get 45 points, you're like, oh shit, I'm right back in this.
That's huge, man. Yeah, so it's good to see. Mixon looked pretty good on the ground as well, 25 for 81. Like he's chopping away.
Jamar Chase.
Yeah, 90 points just from 2 guys.
Even like Kittle or something like.
I mean, there probably are a lot of teams that have that. Like
it's not. It's very possible.
On the Cardinals side,
James Conner looked good till he left with a knee injury. Hopefully he's all right.
Mercado is a pickup you need to get in fantasy this week because we don't know the extent of Connor's injury.
We don't. But this team clearly can run the ball well and wants to try to run the ball, so I think you got to pick them up.
Absolutely. They kind of came down to earth a little bit this week, been playing everyone tough.
Another good game for Marquise Brown for fantasy. He's clearly proven to be a good asset, but definitely a comeback down the earth game. I took the Bengals in Survivor, so I was thrilled with that.
I took the Lions. I was thrilled.
Yeah, that's also a good one. All right, next up, we'll go into the Chiefs-Vikings. So the Chiefs ended up winning 27-20 here. This game was closer than I thought it would be, but the big story is Jetta's obviously leaving with because he did leave with the hamstring injury
in the fourth quarter. Yeah,
I hope he doesn't miss time because he's so fun to watch. But not even before that, the Chiefs had his number 3 for 28 before he got injured. I mean, I guess it's possible he maybe tweaked it earlier on, and that could be why. But this is.
Hopefully it's nothing serious because if it is, like, they're definitely not going to rush him back at all. Like,
no reason to.
Well, they're already 1-4, and if Jefferson's out,
that's what I'm saying.
This is a terrible defense. This offense can't hang.
If it's a bad injury, like, and it's going to be like,
you
know, what's the point of ever like coming back this year?
No, exactly. I do wonder how much if they do trade Kirk Cousins because that deadline's coming up quickly, and I mean they have a winnable game against the Bears, but then they got the 49ers. So if they somehow lose to the Bears, you know they're going to lose to the Niners.
Best case scenario, 2-5.
I mean,
they're not beating the Niners.
Just try getting something out of it because
somebody will give it up. I still think the Jets would trade for Cousins in a heartbeat. I still think they would. I mean, Zach's looked good the past 2 weeks, and I'm sure we're not the only team. I mean, would Atlanta trade for him? Maybe.
I don't know. After Desmond Ridder,
it's hard to say because like they're a team that like might not want to just give up on Ridder. Like,
but they also could see like what if Ridder struggles?
Would the Steelers trade for him? Probably not because they don't want to give up on Pickett yet. I mean, there's some teams that are
the Falcons are interesting though because they've been dipping into the quarterback market for the last few years trying to find a guy. And
like, there's a lot of teams that are at that point, but they have the young quarterback where it's like they don't want to give up for him. Would the Titans potentially make a move? Maybe like punt the tires on
teams that like would get Cousins to make a playoff push. There's no team that's a Super Bowl contender right now that I think would need him. but
I
a
really
team that
don't
could try to
know.
push to win
I
the
really
division
don't
and
know who else.
with a wide open AFC or NFC
The only
South.
team I could see doing it is the Jets, just because we're the only team that, like, Zach Wilson's not our future. So the rest of these teams that I brought up, I mean, the Titans I still could see making a move because I think at this point Cousins a huge upgrade over
With
Tannehill.
quarterback
but
problems aren't going to make the playoffs, and they're
Yeah.
like not good teams. So it's like
The Titans also have Levis and Willis behind them. It's like I think
Yeah,
if they're going to give up
probably
on
not.
Tannehill, they'll probably go with one of the young guys. But
It's like you could say the Raiders and Broncos, but they're not going to make the playoffs. Like,
I say it's kind of likely he just sticks the season out in Minnesota
Yeah.
and they'd probably get nothing.
just
for him.
going through it like quickly without giving him much thought. I mean, I would say the Jets are probably the only team that would actually make a move for him. I mean,
I have to agree with you.
There's
like,
not many.
who else could? Because
I
we're
have to
like
agree
the
with
only
you.
team where it would like make sense because the rest have young quarterbacks.
On positive
The
news
Wings.
for the Vikings, though, Jordan Addison continues to look good in his young career. 6 for 64 and a touchdown. I have him in one league, so I'm pretty happy with that. He's getting involved. He's clearly overtaking KJ Osborne, who's fucking dog shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's
KJ,
terrible.
somebody woke up and said, "I'm going after KJ Osborne."
It's just kind of happened, you know. I think he's bad. He drops the ball a lot. I'm not a
Vikings
big KJ
guys
Osborne
that suck
fan.
Just get a lot of hate.
A lot of drops.
Wow.
Chiefs, you know, they're 4-1. It hasn't been sexy, but they're winning football
No.
games. Their defense looks good.
You know what I got to say though? I was looking today. Patrick Mahomes is now the favorite for the MVP. I just don't understand how he's the favorite right now. Like, does that make any sense to you guys? How he could be the favorite for the MVP? With how like
'cause
Tua,
it's-
Josh Allen's even played better. Like, there's other
You
guys.
know how like the way the NFL is.
It's just crazy, man. Like,
They-
They're trying to get all the Swifties
he
to
looked
bet on it.
so bad against the Jets, and then like even this week, like, yeah, they won the game, but like it wasn't like he had a historic
Dude, that's
Mahomes
the way the
performance. He
football
really
league is,
hasn't
though.
even had like that signature Mahomes game yet.
No, but you're saying that he had like a 75% completion percentage, threw for 281 and 2 touchdowns.
But I mean, like, to be that's
That's a
good.
good game.
That's a good game, but that's not like, oh, this guy's the MVP frontrunner type of game.
Standards, I guess.
Yeah.
We expect so much more.
I'd say probably Tua is the favorite right now in my eyes.
But that's what I'm saying. Isn't that shocking to you that Mahomes is the favorite?
yeah, I mean, he should certainly be top 3, but I'd probably say
who are your
Tua.
top 3 right now?
I mean,
Tua.
I'm not looking at the odds. Mahomes is not top 3. I have him in fantasy. Like, and I'm not saying he hasn't put up great fantasy numbers, but I know that doesn't correlate to NFL. But he's not top 3 in my books. I'd put Goff, I'd put Purdy, and I'd put Tua over him. And you could
See,
say,
I'm in the
and I mean,
boat
I
where
would
I
love
think-
to say,
It's honestly probably just Vegas being just like, well, like
Yeah,
Mahomes.
smart,
is-
yeah.
I'm in the boat where I think McCaffrey's MVP favorite.
we'll
over
see. I
Purdy.
think that, but like, I don't think it matters because
When was the
I
last
just don't
time
see.
a running back won?
Yeah, that's my point. That's why I said Purdy because like, if it's gonna be either guy winning the MVP, it's gonna be Purdy. Just because it's the quarterback
Unfortunately,
award.
that's the way. Yeah, it's you give offensive player of the year to like non-quarterback.
And also, the whole thing with
players.
McCaffrey is you could say, like, Tyreek Hill's putting up ridiculous numbers right now for the Dolphins, too. So I'd say, like, oh, McCaffrey's a lock for the offensive player of the year. But he's not. Because Tyreek's been insane, too.
Yeah, but McCaffrey before last night's game, he only scored once, but he was on pace. He's on
Wide
pace for like
receivers number
25
one
touchdowns,
award,
over
which is
2,000
crazy.
yards.
Yeah. But I'd say right now, like, my big 3 are Purdy, Tua, and Goff. And that could be, like, voters' fatigue, but, I mean, these guys have been putting up,
A
like...
kicker won MVP and a wide receiver has never done it. So
That's what I like to hear.
That
Let's
is
go.
a wild stat.
isn't that crazy?
That
Yeah,
is a wild stat.
that is wild.
All right, next, let's talk about your
Let's talk
Jets. You unbiased fan.
The New York Brees Halls.
The New York. Hey, as a Brees, I traded 2 first-round picks in Dynasty for him. Thank God Brees Hall is back.
He looked
Unleashed.
freaking fast.
He looked fast, dude, on that touchdown. 22 for a $177 and a touchdown.
I love
Holy
having this guy
shit.
back. I mean, it just adds such a like nice level to this offense.
Revenge game.
Yeah,
Also,
it is
Dalvin Cook sucks, so stop giving him the ball. It's good he
Yeah.
only had 6
And
touches.
it's funny because this was Dalvin Cook's probably best game at 6 or 23. This is the best Dalvin Cook's looked at as a
No
runner.
wonder Minnesota let him go.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like hard to like when you see Brees Hall do that, and it's like, oh, like if Brees Hall's doing it, it's like Dalvin, you could be doing a little.
One guy
bit
looks
more.
like he has over 1,000 touches on his body in the NFL. The other one looks like a
Fresh
young,
legs.
fresh legs,
Yeah.
fast,
Well, Dalvin always
explosive.
struggled with injury, like even in Florida State, like he never was able to stay healthy. So that's definitely taken a wear out on him.
Yeah,
Mhm.
How old is he now? Like
I could see
I think
him.
he's 27 or 28.
27.
I think
Yeah,
this
like-
is his last year as a full-time, like not even full-time.
Yeah, I
back,
think
but
he'll
on a
still get a
team, and then
contract.
next year he's going to be like one of those 4
Like
net,
Melvin
like a
Gordon,
gadget guy.
Melvin Gordon guys
Gordon.
that are just
Like,
like
I could totally see
floating
the
around
Raven-
practice squads.
The Ravens have more running back injuries next year, like they always do, and they just bring in Dalvin Cook, you know, be part of the committee. But
And
Yeah,
another,
it's like Latavius Murray when he.
yeah, exactly.
and Zach Wilson, another good game. He had a pick at the end. I didn't love it, but at the end he was just giving Garrett Wilson a chance.
That ball's got to be back shoulder.
I know you'd like to see a better ball, but I mean, outside of that one pick, another good game from him. He didn't do too much. He didn't do anything crazy. You know, he just managed the game and we got the win. Defense looked great. So I'm happy as a Jet fan. I was a little worried because I'm like, you can't lose to the Broncos after everything that Sean Payton said, but also it's just the freaking Broncos. They've looked like a dumpster fire. So
they look terrible. I will say, bright spot for them though, Jaleel McLaughlin. This Jaleel McLaughlin kid, man.
Yeah, he's good.
He's fast as shit.
He was making us look
9
bad.
for 68. He had 3 catches for 21 and a touchdown.
He made us look bad.
He looks good. He looks better than Javonte early on in the season.
He does. He definitely does.
Javonte was out. He's definitely
Javonte will still be wet.
P. Ryan.
These are going to be. It looks like P. Ryan's going to be out.
I think P. Ryan should be out.
Javonte comes back.
It's got to be McLaughlin and
because McLaughlin's not going to take over that backfield. He's too small. He's 5'7" or 5'8".
Yeah,
he's a small guy.
But Javonte's a bruiser. You don't need two bruisers.
That's what I'm saying. It gives this offense a nice dynamic that they didn't have, so it opens up more. So Russ didn't look great, but he wasn't terrible. I mean, like, you look at this game and like people probably want to blame Russ, but at the end of the day, like,
for 196, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he was doing too much.
His stats this year are actually like really good. He's got 11 touchdowns.
He's not. No, he's honestly having a decent year.
Yeah, I have him in fantasy. Like, he hasn't.
I kind of don't think he's the problem. The defense is fucking pathetic, and we thought it was going to be a good defense.
I just don't think Sean Payton likes Russ, and I think he wants him out. So
he will be out.
His own guy.
I think he will be out, but I'm going to say like he's not their problem right now. It's defense. He's actually
100%
pretty good.
They let up 234 rushing yards.
He's a scapegoat for Payton.
Yeah, and that's why the Broncos are apparently open to trading anyone on the defense. I find it hard to believe they trade Pat Surtain, but anyone else like Justin Simmons is apparently on the block. You know, they just traded Randy Gregory. It'll be interesting to see, but
and these wide receivers got to step up for us too. I mean, we were missing DJ Reed, and none of these guys could step off against Bryce Hall, who's like terrible. Although he did have a fumble recovery for a touchdown at the end there, but you know, Judy or Sutton, one of these guys has got to step out.
I think we know what Judy is now, man. It's year 4. He's just always been, I'm gonna get you 4 catches for 40 yards or 50 yards. Like he's not gonna develop into that guy that you picked him.
Sutton wasn't even on the field. Like they were showing at the end of the game, like it was a red zone opportunity. He wasn't even on the field.
Him and Sutton have kind of connected a decent amount this year, so that was interesting to see. I mean, Marvin Mims is clearly the big play threat.
And he fumbled, but in fairness, like our punt returner fumbled too. It was just like the glare in that stadium. Like the punt returners were when they were like flipping sides. They were having a tough time trying to get
like Mims only gets like 3 targets a game, and he has all these big plays. You got to get him more involved because I don't know. If I'm the Broncos, I'm trading Judy at the deadline because you don't want to pay him. You don't want to extend him. It's clear his timeline's not going to work with this team. They need to get as many draft picks as they can. Yeah, but they were asking for like a second or a first, and he ain't worth that.
No,
just get your third, get your 4th, and get out. Like try to get as many draft picks as you can and shed salary. I think that's what they got to do.
Let's move on to the Sunday night game quick.
Final game.
Not a ton to say here outside of 49ers, probably the top team in football right now. Cowboys, not even close to their level.
Yeah, I mean, classic Cowboys. I can't believe you backed them 3.5. What do they always do? They choke in big games. Dak chokes in big games. He threw 3 picks in the second half. It was probably one of the worst games of his entire career.
How about that defense too, man? To be like considered one of the best defenses in the league and get
don't ever compare Micah Parsons to Lawrence Taylor.
Micah was lining up over Trent Williams all day.
Trent
Williams is first ballot Hall of Famer, elite, like 10-time Pro Bowler, 2-time.
That was cool to watch.
He's a beast.
Terrible.
It is cool to watch. It is fun to watch, but this offense just drove the ball down their fucking throats to start the game. McCaffrey was not even doing super well on the ground, but Purdy was.
They didn't even need him to do anything.
They spread the ball around, and even fucking Juszczyk had a touchdown and 4 catches for 26 yards.
It's funny because McCaffrey, like he had a good game, but for him to only have 75 yards and them to kill him like this, like if you told me the 49ers put up 42 points, I'd be like, oh, how well did McCaffrey do? He only had 75.
Only 75 and a touchdown. His 14 straight game.
And I'd be like, wow, that's like not that good.
Kittle, 3 catches, 3 touchdowns, 67 yards. The most classic George Kittle game I've ever seen on primetime. Pulled
Purdy
the shirt
looked
up,
good
said,
also.
Fuck Dallas. Yeah, Purdy looked good, man. Spreading the ball around.
Sam Darnold even got a completion for a yard.
Yeah. I mean, Ayuk, 4 for 58. Lost by 2 yards. Very sad.
And it should have hit.
It was a bad beat. He had a big catch for like fucking 30 yards, and they called it back for holding. And then
he had 2 drops too.
He did have 2 drops.
And then there was the one where they got a shoestring tackle where it's like, oh, if he just gets 2 more yards there, but this is the world we live in, and Drox Locks is 3-1 now.
Yeah, definitely a tough beat. Defensively for them, though, Fred Warner, holy shit, man, what a game.
Yeah,
sack,
he's a beast.
Forced fumble, he did everything, and he took over the fucking game. I'm not going to lie. Him and Dre Greenlaw.
Maybe we got to start talking him, deep boy, huh?
Yeah, dude, absolutely.
Got to put him in the conversation.
Him and Dre Greenlaw is the best linebacker duo in football, too. Like, they're fucking elite. If you're a Dallas fan, it's a punch in the gut, that's for sure. You certainly don't think... I was saying this. I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender. They're a good team.
Don't even know if
they're a good team, but they can't hang with the Eagles or Niners.
I still think they're the 3rd best team in the NFC right now, but I think
they're better than Detroit?
Yeah, that's true.
It's a tough one.
That would be a good matchup. I think they're like that second tier. I think like the Eagles and the Niners are clearly their own tier. And then I would put Detroit and Dallas like in a tier lower, and even Dallas, like I feel so much lower on them now, but it's hard to say for certain. Like,
I'd have to agree
how
with
much
that.
better Detroit, because we haven't seen Detroit do it. Like to just give them their flowers after 5 games and be like they're way better than Dallas is hard for me to do. But I think they're both of them. Well, we'll see when Detroit plays. Like I don't know if they play the Niners or the Eagles, but
yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. The biggest issue with the Cowboys is Mike McCarthy, in my opinion. He's such a stale play caller. He's so outdated.
Yeah.
I mean, I see a lot of people being like, you see how the Bengals moved Jamar Chase around, how the Bills moved
why don't you do
Stephon
that for
Diggs
CeeDee
around,
Lamb, yeah.
you know, Justin Jefferson's moving all around. Why is CeeDee just standing fucking stagnant the entire game? I mean, he had 4 for 49. You gotta give him the ball more. He's your best offensive weapon. I mean, Pollard.
Well,
wasn't
all I
able
can
to run
say
the
is
ball.
screw the Cowboys. Thanks for making me look like an idiot.
Fuck the Cowboys. Fuck the
get that.
Cowboys.
Yeah, apparently, man.
It is always going to be the Cowboys that lets you down.
Yeah.
It just always will be. That's just who the Cowboys are.
It'll be interesting when they play the Eagles twice. I still think they split it 1-1, but we'll see.
I mean,
Don't have a lot of confidence in Dallas now.
I wouldn't either. I think the Eagles are going to fucking kick their ass.
Probably.
And now I'm looking forward to you dancing all week, brother. It's going to be good.
4 more days as this recording, so make sure you guys are checking us out on the socials.
Check it out, guys.
Continue to check it out because, like we said, the merch is in the process, so hopefully over the next week we'll have some order forms that you can get on our website to place your orders.
Absolutely. I'm fucking pumped up for that, man.
I don't know about you, but I don't got anything left to say. I say we end this podcast and go watch the game.
Let's go.
So since we're recording this on Monday, we'll break down the Packers-Raiders game at the start of the podcast for you guys as well.
Absolutely. All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Let's go Packers.
No, let's go Raiders.
No, let's go Packers.
It's tied up.